of the day, I'm looking at laws, looking at legislation. We have to monitor every bill mentioned in education and youth. So to do that full time for work and then still do this. But what we found is, the earliest law we found, beginning in Barbados in 1688, the colonizers, imperialists, passed laws that forbidded the drums, horns, or any loud instruments, and quote unquote, because of their wicked designs. What we learned is this row here, it's over 100 rebellions and revolutions from enslaved people who were using the drums to actually communicate and plan rebellion and plan revolution, so that's why they banned it. So started in Barbados in 1688. Actually, you see there in New York as well, slaves who make noise will be whipped in the street, and I put the direct language from them. So that's, again, the earliest laws limiting freedom of speech were rooted here. In Martinique, which I was talking with a brother from the Caribbean earlier this week, he reminded me this is still a French colony today, Martinique. But this is, a quote from a priest who was there, and he talked about how he's talking about the enslaved people, he said dance is one of their favorite passions. But he said, in order to make them forget their infamous dance, we've been teaching them French dances, basically cultural genocides. And if you read it closely, he's just talking about how they're jumping around, and Saturday night, midnight, they all kind of just go to this space and dance. So culture and expression was so important, but it was also deliberately quashed. And this is where my ancestors are from in South Carolina. This is some of the earliest American laws. And they even forbid the slave masters from allowing their enslaved people to keep drums. That's how serious this got to a point. In Cuba, this is from 1925, so not even 100 years ago. They banned bodily contortions and drums of African nature, so I'll call this like the anti-twerk law that happened there. But it happened all across the Americas, all across, because of the power of it. Here, the first time, you see this is in Oakland, right? What's happening here. But if you're familiar with this meme and this woman and that hashtag, Wild Black, it's rooted in this ability to police and tell us what to do with our time, right? It's rooted in this, so that's why I found this picture and thought it would be funny to add there. But in Dominican Republic, the first time merengue was talked about, it was kind of deemed culturally just inappropriate because of its African influence and different things. In Brazil, you could get 6 months in prison for doing capoeira. So LA has probably about 5 or 6 capoeira gyms. That's this Brazilian, martial art, Afro-Brazilian, that's rooted in fighting for freedom, right? But you can get 6 months in prison. That's how much it was criminalized there. So when we see, children being criminalized in their culture, just know it's rooted in this sort of thing. In Mexico, during the Holy Inquisition, the Spanish Empire just outrightly banned all sorts of stuff. And I just circled some from African influence, bamba, fandango, you can't see that there, tango, and chuchumbe, if some of you might know what that means, but these things were banned, just carte blanche. And then another part of the research that I'm doing looks at the resilience of culture, Afro-diaspora culture specifically, despite these attempts to criminalize and limit it. So what you see here is a banner and a timeline with over 200 styles of music that still emerge despite this criminalization, and just for our ability to hold on to it. And we've color-coded it by, blue is things come directly from Africa, so like the griot traditions in Angolo that influence capoeira. Red is Afro-American, green is Afro-Latino, yellow is Afro-Caribbean, and then purple is like Afro-European with like the dubstep and stuff. And, crunk music, gangster rap, but it's all over the diaspora because in these rhythms, and this is what our project is for, we're finding a lot of these rhythms and a lot of these styles of music actually are like coded language and preserved traditions. For example, like tap dancing, right? Those are African rhythms being beat out on feet that, mixed with like Irish jig and different things that just happen in America, right? But those are traditions. And as the data I showed earlier, it shows that white students are learning tap dance more in their schools than black students, even though it's a tradition that was influenced by black people. So that's one of the issues with resources. So if you really want to see this, we'll be in Leimert Park on Sunday at the Day of Ancestors Festival of Mass. This was just last weekend with Ben in Leimert Park, which the Chaos Network there is like a really important community staple with access to art. So we'll actually be there with about 60 square feet of the banners on display. If you want to see them, and you can check out those specifically on this website, upliftment.org, upliftment with an I. Specific. You know, there should be consequences for people. Oh, I don't know if there should be 8 years in prison, right? But part of why we see that is we're not investing enough in giving that space to students, giving that space to young people and people to come together, because art is community, right? Culture is community. That's how we come together and create things. And whenever developing land, we have to think about that, right? Are we providing space for that? Because if we don't, then when they tag the walls of City Hall, you know, we really can't be mad. So I have these stickers available if you want one of these stickers. You can just let me know. I have the 200 genres of rhythms of the Exodus there as well. But yeah, and also in conclusion, if you're interested in getting involved in our Black Art Matters, Brown Art Matters, you know, it's going to be a campaign we're going to do throughout the city and throughout the state to ensure that we highlight that issue. Also reach out to me and let me know and we're looking for spaces, speaking of space, right, to host different events and different things, because the average citizen does not know that we still have this unequal education system today, right? We're a couple miles away from the courthouse where the Mendez case was fought in the 1940s, which that was a case that said, fought here in Southern California, that said, you know, Mexican Americans specifically didn't have the same access to education. The schools for Mexican Americans were emphasize sewing and those sort of trades, and didn't prepare you to go to college or actually contribute and be in the economy, right? So that wasn't that long ago, and that was fought here. So with that, we have to understand that there's still these inequalities today that exist from that previous system, and access to art is one of the biggest ones. So if you're interested in that campaign specifically, please reach out to me. And I put my email up here as well that you can find, but this entire presentation you can find right here at www.tinyurl.com/culturecrime. That was one that we remember, right? And culture is still getting criminalized, right? So the policy to end random searches, there was a vote to abolish the policy after next school year because they want to give time to transition and different things. But that's something, if you're involved in helping, go to aclusocal.org and you can sign up to our network there, because we still have to keep feet to the fire and ensure that that policy doesn't come back and rear its ugly head. All right, so that's my time for today, and thank you.